Hey guys, today I'm making a diorama that's loosely based on a couple of rooms that I've seen in abandoned asylums with x-ray tables in them. They are usually pretty dismantled and or destroyed, but often still have the arm that came down for the x-ray and some other details. So I 3D modeled this piece on my iPad in Shaper 3D and printed it out, and I'm gluing some of the pieces together now. Here's the full table, and I'm just starting off by priming it this red-brown color. I plan on really rusting this thing up. This is the arm and the base for it, which it would actually slide back and forth so you can get different angles with the x-ray. And once that's dried, I'm using some liquid latex just in the different areas that I really want rust to show through. And so I'm putting it on the edges here, and then I'm using my airbrush to paint over this top layer of paint. It's pretty easy to start rubbing the paint off in these areas that I used the latex, and you can see that rust color showing through. It also just really makes the paint actually peel up, and so it gives that real effect of peeling paint that is now rusting from underneath. So for the rust effect, I'm adding some rust colored pigment powders in pretty heavy amounts so that it really looks like rust. I 3D printed these windows out as well, and I'm just hot gluing them in place in the wall. For the walls, I'm using joint compound. It'll help fill the gap between the windows and the walls, and it gives the walls just a nice texture to it for the paint. So I try to make this as flat as possible when I put it on, but once it dries, I sand it even more flat, and then I use this wash to dirty up just the under layer of the walls. So now I'm using liquid latex rubber. I'm just putting that all over in different areas, and then I'm going to paint directly on top of that. So once it dries, I can peel the paint up. And then I'm going to do this process again with a different color paint. So now that it's dried, I'm just rubbing it, and because of the latex giving it that tacky texture, it's peeling up like peeled paint. So for this next layer of paint, I made sure to use a color that really stood out, and I'm only putting it on very subtly, like the paint is already peeled off over the years, but the latex will again add that second layer of peeling paint just to add age and dimension to the walls. So for the floor, I'm laying down just a layer of Mod Podge so I can start putting down some rubble and dust and dirt and all the things I'm putting on the floor with a solid layer of glue. And here I'm just marking out where I'm going to put the x-ray table so I know not to put any rubble underneath it. This is the same stuff that I used in the previous video. It was plaster of Paris that I kind of just smashed up, and it makes really good rubble. This is a slightly different color, tile grout, much finer texture, and I'm just mixing them together a little bit. Spraying it down with watered down isopropyl alcohol before using some scenic glue, just watered down white glue to really make sure it's all going to glue in place. As I go ahead and add some details, I wanted to talk to you guys about my Patreon. I know some of you have expressed interest in getting more content from me or even just helping support me in this channel, and so now I have launched a Patreon for that purpose. For the most part, I'll be posting a lot of behind the scenes photos and talking about some of the projects that I'm doing, allowing you guys to help make decisions by voting on things for future projects. There's also a chat community and a way for you to directly message with me if you have any questions. And for some of the tiers, I'll be providing digital downloads like desktop wallpapers of the finished photos and some of my 3D models. Making these dioramas can get really expensive, especially with some of the equipment that I've bought over the last year. And to be honest, I want to be able to do this as much as possible. This has been so much fun creating this channel and making all of these pieces, and I would love it if I could do it on a more full-time basis one day. So if you want to help support the channel and make that happen, go on over to the Patreon page. It's linked in the description. I've posted on there something that I'm going to be working on in the future of this channel, so go on over there and join any of the tiers to find out what I'll be up to. And again, thank you so much for supporting me and the channel so far. For the windows, I decided to add some real glass with microscope slide covers. I'm not adding much, but I put a couple pieces and I broke some of them as well. This material is called an ND gel. It's for the film industry. It basically is a neutral density filter that darkens down any light that goes through it. I thought it was perfect to cut up and use as blank X-ray slides. I wanted to make a little cabinet where maybe some more X-ray slides would be, and so I 3D printed these pieces and I'm gluing the doors on now. I didn't film it, but I added a broken piece of microscope slide cover glass to this one, so there's a little bit of glass on it. And this is a metal shelf that I 3D printed. I also modeled this electrical panel for the wall. So I wanted to do the paint peeling effect over the rust on this panel, so to do that I masked off the wall just in case, added some latex, and then the layer of paint. I didn't think we would see the ceiling much in the photos, but I wanted to make it decayed anyway. So I'm just using a wash and the sponge to just blot it on all over the place, and it gives this kind of a waterlogged, decayed look, especially when it's lit so darkly for the photos. Then I just added some more streaking grime and dirt, and it's time for the finished shots. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out my new Patreon down in the description, and if you can help support the channel at all, it would be greatly appreciated. I can't wait to get into some of the things I have for the future of this channel. I'll see you guys later.